Okay, how's everybody doing? So another little Winter Warriors update. Donations are over $4,300, so everybody's been so generous with us. So thank you very much for that. Team is still running strong. We actually just crossed 3,500 miles here, and we are in the afternoon of January 30th. So some people are still finishing up their runs. So we achieved our goal, and now we're kind of hitting another gear and continuing to run ahead. There have been some amazing feats of strength this month that we'll probably recap at some point. We have at least 2 marathons, including one this morning from Boyka, who I think he ran like a 2:43, and Chris Ritchie ran a pretty good one last week, and there could be a 50K tomorrow. We'll see what happens. There's been a lot of shenanigans, so we're having some fun. So in this session, I've got Anthony Belchier here, a key member of the team, and I think I'm going to give him the floor because I've been talking so much this whole month.
Thank you, Mr. Sawyer. Yeah, we figured amongst the group, we've gone through 9 interviews so far, and there's 1 remaining. So for today's session, we're going to interview the one and only Matt Sawyer. So, Mr. Sawyer, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us where you're from and what you're up to?
Sure. So I'm Matt Sawyer. I grew up in the Lakes region of New Hampshire. Moved around quite a bit, but settled in Elliott, Maine, I guess about 16 years ago, which is hard to imagine now. Active runner in the community. Been doing it, I guess, semi-seriously for the last like 5 or 6 years and having fun with it and love doing things like this.
Great. I know we're on day 30 of Winter Warriors. I know we had the opportunity to run together this morning, a little crisp, but we got it done. So we got 1 day to go. Tell us a little bit about how many miles you've logged to date and how things are generally going for you.
Yep. So I am right around 350 miles, and I actually checked my mileage from last January. I ran 360 last January, so I'm ahead of that, which actually kind of surprised me. And we got some big plans for tomorrow, so I feel like I'm going to surpass that total, which is kind of neat. And I've been kind of holding up okay. I've talked to you guys. It's kind of boring to talk about injuries, but I've had a couple little things going on that I'm trying to manage and run through. And as Shiloh is pointing out, I've got kind of bionic components and all kinds of hardware on my body to keep the wheels on the bus, but I wouldn't have any other way. It's fun.
Yes, I know. So for the viewers at home, and if I look at the list here, I think we've probably got 10,000 subscribers to this channel, give or take a few thousand. So Matt has definitely been a trooper. He's wrapped himself. I know a lot of us are not feeling 100%, and that's a byproduct of being a part of the Icarus project.
That's right.
But we'd have it no other way, like you said. Running accomplishments. What sits atop the list for you as either one of the faster moments or proudest moments, or maybe a combination of the two?
Yeah. So it's all pretty modest. I was kind of, I guess, lucky in the sense that I didn't run a ton of miles when I was younger. I really kind of found the sport in my 40s. So I had actually been still hitting PRs even in 2020, which has been kind of neat. But my proudest accomplishment was Runner's Alley. To be on the racing team, you have to run a sub-17 5K. So I finally got my first one in 2016. It took me a while. It was like a while to get under 20, a while to get under 19, a while to get under 18. I finally got a sub-17 in 2016. And I've been able to, and then I was led on the team, which was a very proud moment for me. I was super stoked about that. And I've hit a sub 17-minute 5K every year, including 2020 since then. So I'm proud of that.
Excellent. Yeah, and that shows a lot of, definitely one of the attributes that we need to have in this sport is consistency. If you can build up race consistency, training consistency, you can do a lot of great things with that. And that's kudos to you for achieving a continued
having good
level.
Training partners is essential too, and people that kind of keep raising the bar. And now that I run with you a little bit more, I've joked a few times, but you're older than I am, so the first time I'm not the oldest guy in the group. So
I know. I hear, I've heard that said a couple times, and it really hasn't sunk in, because I'll be running like next to Chris Ager, or Sherwin, who's part of the younger community within our group, and I'm like, yeah, we're all kind of running the same mileage or running the same pace. We kind of feel the same age.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's important to kind of try to keep up with these guys, And I think
absolutely
we're doing okay so far.
Yeah, definitely. So as I was going through this research, and I know we did a little bit before during our interview, I didn't realize that the Chase Home for Children was founded in 1877. So they've been helping at-risk kids families for over 140 years, which is pretty amazing. So tell us a little bit about what makes this participation for you so special.
Yeah. Yeah, as you said, I mean, it's been a great charity in the community for a long time. And the fact that they're focused on helping at-risk youths, that's just huge. I mean, I think about, I've got two kids, they're teenagers, and I feel like, my wife, Kara, and I, we've been very attentive to them, and they've had a lot of advantages. And things are still hard. And I think about some of these kids that maybe didn't get so lucky, even though my kids probably don't feel lucky all the time, the pressure we put them on. But kids that don't have all the advantages,
Right.
Gosh, to have a place like the Chase home to provide some support and some services to give those kids like a decent shot, it's just so important. And unfortunately, I'm not in a position to give a tremendous amount of my time to that charity. I hope to be able to do that later. But I think the least we can do is try to put some efforts out there to generate some financial support to help that charity. So.
Well said. It definitely makes the miles go by a little bit more smoother and quicker, knowing that we're running for a great cause.
Yep. I don't think I would have quite as much tape and knee braces and things like that. Just kind of call it quits. But I knew that stuff would happen. It's been fun.
That's right. So normally at this point in time, we would wrap things up. However, I feel that it would be more appropriate, seeing as you're the last person to be interviewed. I polled the team, and I'd like to call this next segment Setting Sail with the Captain. So I queried the Icarus Project members and gave them an opportunity to come along on a leisurely voyage with us and learn a little bit more about Captain Sawyer, our fearless leader. So a little bit of a preview here. We cover a lot: personal hygiene, race and training tip inquiry. We may have a chance to unravel a conspiracy theory, general nutrition. So this is going to be a very dynamic segment. So for all the viewers at home that are watching right now, if you want to pause, go grab some popcorn, get a beverage, come back. I'll have to ask you, Matt, are you ready? Are you feel hydrated? Do you need to get a gel pack or anything? Because we've got, okay, you're ready.
Got a drink. I'm ready. But I'm also go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm also imagining my Google Analytics and people just dropping off here and be like, they're concerned at this point.
It's going to go one way. It's either going to go straight up or straight down. So,
right.
And I was thinking, I queried all the guys. It's like, hey, we've signed non-disclosures. It's okay. We'll have confidentiality. Anonymity is at its highest. But then I was thinking hey, maybe I should do a segment like Devin from the New Hampshire Capitol wrote in, or Richard Thuley wrote in, so I'm just going to crank through them. So question one, I think this is a two-parter. How old were you when you realized you had a shoe fetish, and how many pairs of running shoes do you currently own, and why is that more than 100?
Yep, good question. So I guess the shoe fetish thing, I guess partly I had a motivation to join the Runners Alley racing team because they generously support the racing team with some free shoes. So in 2016, I realized I really like running. I like running shoes. I need to align myself with this terrific store and these great people who are also going to help me with that. I probably have, 16 pairs of running shoes that are in the rotation right now. So I'm sure I've gone through more than 100, but currently about 16 pairs.
Right. Yeah, it's an essential gear for our sport, that's for sure.
And it's fun.
Favorite kids cereal, and what is your go-to caloric replacement dessert? And I know we covered this on the run today a little bit. We talked about the legendary Jubilee log.
Right. Yeah. So favorite kids cereal, we try not to have a lot of junky cereal around here, but Honey Nut Cheerios find their way to my training table fairly frequently, and I like those. Lots of sugar, kind of a quick fix. And for refueling type stuff, I'm gonna go with that Jubilee log. It just tends to be anything sweet and calorie dense post run. I'm honestly, I feel like I have a lot of my running training down. The nutrition part, less so. I definitely slip up. I eat a lot of ice cream, a lot of junk, especially the afternoons after long runs. So tomorrow's going to be chaos after our long run. Everything in the house. The
double stuffed Oreos for me, those have been getting hit really hard.
Yep.
Important.
and you're not gaining any weight, right? When you're running.
No, that's the magic of Winter Warriors. It's like, all you have to do is run 400 miles in a month and you can eat whatever you want. Simple, right?
It's so simple. Everybody should do it.
We've got another two-parter here. Actually, I think this might be a four-parter.
Oh, God.
What was your fastest 5K time 3 years ago, and what is it now? I'll take a pause and let you get through that one, then we'll go on.
Yeah. I'm not totally sure. I mean, I broke 17 minutes in the 5K on my home course in Elliott, got the win, got to run with like Matt Daly and beat him down the stretch, which is incredible. So that was a 16:50, and I've moved that down into like the 16:10 territory. I did on the Hollis 5K, broke 16 minutes. That one doesn't quite count, so it's very downhill. So I'd say, I probably have a 30-second improvement over the last couple of years of my 5K time.
Yep, that sounds about right. Who on the team do you look up to? Who are you aiming to beat? And what are your goals?
Good question. This is going to sound like a cop-out, but I kind of look up to everybody on the team for different reasons. I love the group that we run with. Everybody's great for a different reason. At the moment, Chris Ritchie is like our number one seed. I don't aspire to beat him anytime soon, though I do feel like he's probably going to lose interest and go back to skiing, in which case I'll sneak in there.
That will be our moment.
Yeah, and Vojta's been hammering away. I think he's going to put some heat on Chris very soon.
Right.
And I very much admire Shiloh as well. He and I have been kind of close. He's definitely gapped me in the marathon and stuff, but we've had a lot of races where we've run close together, and I feel like, he's always somebody that I can kind of latch on to, and if I'm finishing close to him, I'm usually having a pretty good race.
Yeah. Well said. Very PC. Let me just mark my brownie points calendar here for you. Sawyer plus 10. Okay, very good.
If we get a race soon, you're probably going to roll me up, and then you're going to be on that list of somebody that I'm gunning for.
We'll see. This is going to be a good year. I think this is going to be a good year all around for everybody. So this next one, you'll probably never guess who submitted this one.
Oh, God.
If you had to choose, which of Kevin Crowley's traits do you like more? Which would it be? His devilish good looks or his polished wit?
And this is just a multiple choice question, A and B?
It could be a combination. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough to choose.
Kevin, he is a handsome fella. His wife is a lucky woman for sure. And with all that wit and charm, I don't know, I couldn't really choose between those two things, but he does have a very strong meme game, which I would say he's able to kind of put those memes in terms that a 40-something-year-old like myself can kind of understand. So that's a special gift. That might be his number one best trait to me here. And it's a long list of stuff, but that might go to the top.
So this next one is very informative. We find ourselves planning a lot in this hobby, and sometimes things go to plan. Like, hey, I'm going to fuel at mile 8, and then 11 and 14, or let's stop here for water break. But sometimes Mother Nature taps us on the shoulder, or maybe starts shouting out loud, and we need to pull over and take a stop. So please rank the top 3 bathroom stops on the Seacoast for runners.
That's a good question. Who asked that one?
I can't. We've signed 9 disclosures. I mean, I've changed this name. It could be another guy on the team that has a beard. I mean, that's probably as to keep things anonymous.
So good bathroom stops. Well, out on the Newcastle Loop right now, there is one kind of right over the second bridge on the left-hand side that is temporary. They often have lavender potpourri burning in there and hot, warm towels and sometimes little Altoids. So that's kind of nice.
Very nice.
And then I guess when you get across the Newcastle Commons, there's some good spots in there too, which may or not be official porta potties, but there probably is tree cover in there. So if somebody were inclined, they could use the bathroom in there and probably be a good experience. So those are the 2 that are on the list right now. I'm sure there are more that I'm forgetting.
Anyone that we've all been there, when you come around the corner and you see it, and it's almost like glowing. It's like, oh, you're like, Any condition is fine.
100%.
So this next one, this is where it could get like a little saucy here. So
I feel like it's been saucy, but
yeah,
yeah.
I think the spice level is going to be kicked up a notch here.
All right.
Did you secretly untie KSL's shoe and box out Matt Daly for the 2016 Elliott 5K win? We just talked about that. And Sweet last year that they ever had it, prize money.
Yeah. Oh man, that's a good question. And I love to talk about that race all the time and always. So yeah, so that was 2016, my hometown race right down the road. And it's me, Matt Daly, and Kevin St. Laurent. We kind of went out and ran the first like 2.5 miles together, and then like we look down and Kevin's shoelace is like starting to flop and you hear him utter some profanity. He tries to go with it for another like minute or two, and then he has to stop, and then it's like me and Matt Daly for the rest of the way. So yeah, I untied his shoe. I'm proud. I would do it again. Like, I highly recommend. I know because Elliott finishes on a nice downhill. I'm much bigger than Matt Daly, so all my momentum that worked in my favor. But I knew if I had Kevin St. Laurent, he's a little bit bigger than me, borderline Clydesdale, and I just wouldn't be able to hold him off. So.
Right. You got to do what you need to do to defend the home.
Yeah, no regrets at all. I'm actually quite proud of that. It was kind of a tricky thing to untie it just enough to where it held up for a couple miles, but then it let loose.
Right, because you don't want to do it so much because you have those pre-strides before the gun goes off. And
yeah, you might catch it at the start. So it's smart. I would do it again 10 out of 10 times.
Well played.
Sorry, Kevin.
This next one comes in from Dudley. At 47, you're one of the oldest but fastest members of the group. What's the key to your sustained success?
No.
I'm going to take some notes here too because.
Right. Yeah, that's a generous question. I'm not one of the fastest. I'm proud of like my consistency with the group. I feel like I set a standard where most guys want to be finishing ahead of me, but I'm somewhere toward the middle most of the time. My secret to success is kind of the Lydiard school to just maintain high mileage. I don't do tons of workouts, try to kind of keep the volume up and stay in shape year round. I don't really do the goal race type thing. I just try to log lots of miles and try to jump into stuff. And then I have surrounded myself with a group of people that I like that are kind of crazy and want to run all the time too. Without that, there'd be no point to any of it. So I would say the number one thing is finding a good training group. That's sort of my key to success, if you can call it that.
Definitely makes it easier when you know that, for example, 9 other knuckleheads might join you for a 30-mile run the next day.
Exactly. Stuff like that. And yeah, I'm never the craziest person out there, which is comforting.
Yes. So this next one is interesting. If you had to think of your top 3 running injuries ever, how many would you designate as being incited by a fellow SLRG member, and what would they be?
Oh man. Yeah, that's a good question. So, I mean, indirectly, all of them are incited by SLRG members. So, go back to my previous answer. I had sciatica back in 2017. I feel like I was getting ready for some kind of race that I was going to compete with a lot of our group run friends. I wanted to do well. That happened. But more recently, this one during Winter Warriors, where some type of quad issue, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but that was 100% Seacoast Long Run Group related, because in a period of doing super high volume, I chose to do a workout, a 6-mile tempo run. Why did I do that? Because Chris Ritchie did one, and then like Shiloh did one. So then I did, and it was contagious. And that's that viewing Strava, what other people are doing. So if your friends jump off a bridge, would you? The answer is yes. And a lot of times the water is shallow and we get hurt.
Yes, that's true. We talked about that actually the other day, and I had convinced myself that that was the best idea for me until I slept on it and woke up and said, I'm going to pass on that. I'm going to live to fight another day.
It's one of those rules of thumb, and I'll be short here, but like you can increase volume or increase intensity, but doing both at the same time, not many people can get away with that. And I certainly can't. I've been burned a couple times. So
So we've got a finale question here. It's a two-parter, and then we'll hand it back over to you. If you had to describe the correct number of healthy toenails a runner should have, what would that be? And as a follow-up to that, how many people need to tell you to go to a doctor for a bad toenail before you must go? Just hypothetically speaking, of course.
Right. So toenails, I feel like we've evolved past, we don't need those as humans anymore. So the answer is zero. You need zero toenails. And I guess I've had 5 or 6 people tell me that I should see a doctor. My wife, Kara, bought me a pedicure for Christmas. And so I'm getting a lot of pressure from all around to get those toes cleaned up. And I think I'm responsive to none of that pressure. So I think it's just fine. Kanoa, who's not on the team, but is a good friend, obviously ran with him this morning. He mentioned, be careful with that pedicure because you'll lose some of those calluses and stuff. So I think there's some goodness to having those beat up hobbit feet. So I'm going to keep them for now.
Absolutely. Everybody's got their own special powers.
That's right. So.
Well, thanks for lending some time for us today. I will pass it back to you and have close things out.
Awesome. Well, that's a wrap. Yeah, I'm sure my YouTube subscriber base is going to go from 10,000 to probably 10,004 or something like that. But for anybody who made it to the end of this, thank you. And Anthony, thank you for taking the time to get those questions together and stuff. This is, I didn't really want to get interviewed, but this was fun, and hopefully somebody will get something out of it. So
yeah, you're welcome, and looking forward to closing it out tomorrow.
Absolutely. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and yeah, support the Chase home if you can. We'd love to throw some more support their way as we're closing this thing out. So thanks again. Take care.
All right. Take care, guys.